How did you use media technologies in the construction, research, planning and evaluation stages? Throughout the course, I've learned a significant amount about technology, particularly with software such as Photoshop and Final Cut Pro, as these are programs I've used a considerable amount through both the planning and construction stages of the course. As well as this, I've used internet resources such as WordPress and Prezi to present my work in a clear and concise way. For my website and poster, I wanted to ensure that the images I used connoted the genre both through the content of the image and through the tones and colours within the image also. For this reason, I've used various filters such as the brightness and contrast tool, whereby I slightly changed the way the image looked to ensure it had clarity. I decided that a green tint would connote the genre well, as I've seen on previous film posters and websites. Therefore, I used the Deep Emerald Photo Filter tool and changed the density slightly to give the entire photo a green tint. To enhance this further, I then changed both the hue and saturation on the image to make the edit clearer, and included various filters such as the film grain filter to connote the idea that the photo was taken on a handheld camera, which again enhances the genre further. As I have had previous experience with Photoshop on the Apple Macs, I was comfortable with the tools and was able to use them effectively and easily. An example of a tool I use frequently is the opacity tool, which I found particularly useful when creating my website. The opacity tool allowed me to make the image of the doll transparent on the website to enhance the narrative, and similarly, dropping the opacity on various images ensured that the text stood out on the website as it had no background images to contend with on the page. Another Photoshop tool I use frequently was the text tool, as I've included significant amounts of text throughout both a poster and the website. To ensure both the ancillary text looked visually interesting and had an overall professional feel, I downloaded various fonts such as Steel Tongs through the website DaFont. Downloading fonts from the website not only ensured that my ancillary text had a professional feel, but it also helped to connote the genre of the film, as I was able to download typically supernatural fonts, which I've used through my cross-media package. Another area in which text has been used on my ancillary text is through the use of institutions. However, I included the institutional logos as images and inverted the colours to change the text to white, which fits in significantly better with the house style of my products. Other tools I use within Photoshop include standard tools such as the Move tool and Auto Select tool. These both enabled me to place each element in the most visually interesting way and change the layout of both the poster and the website until I was happy with it. In terms of the trailer, I used the software Final Cut Pro, which I became increasingly familiar with as the course progressed. Initially, I imported the files I needed from a memory card onto the file bank situated on the left-hand side of the program. This made it easier for me to recognise which files were which when constructing the trailer itself. The files imported include a range of video files, images and voice recordings, which I then used to create my trailer. Throughout the construction of the trailer, I used various tools such as the Razor tool. This enabled me to cut certain parts of audio, video and images to either shorten the length of them or to cut parts of the film that aren't needed. To ensure I cut the accurate parts of footage, I used the Zoom tool. This made it easier to see exactly which points to cut it at to ensure that I didn't cut unnecessary amounts of footage. Similar to the Razor tool, I used the copy and paste options to repeat some of the sound that runs throughout my trailer to ensure it ran fluently throughout the whole trailer and didn't stop abruptly, which would take away the overall consistency of the trailer itself. In terms of the music, I use various uncopyrighted sounds to enhance the narrative of the trailer. To do so, I use GarageBand, a software that provides uncopyrighted free music. After searching through various samples and found the samples I'd used for my trailer, I then imported them into Final Cut Pro and integrated them within my trailer to enhance the narrative and to build up tension, particularly towards the disequilibrium and disruption elements. However, I did not find a continuous soundtrack that would run throughout the duration of my trailer on GarageBand. Therefore, I looked onto the internet to find other uncopyrighted music which I could download to use within the trailer. There were certain elements of the trailer that I wanted the sound to decrease or increase in volume. To do this, I used the Pen tool, which enabled me to pinpoint areas of audio that I could change the volume of gradually to fade from one sample of sound to another by dragging the points either up or down to eventually stop the sound completely. I found this particularly beneficial as it ensured that there were no aspects of sound that stopped abruptly, which again would take away the fluidity of the trailer itself. In terms of sound, aside from the musical aspects of the trailer, I used contrapuntal dialogue, particularly at the beginning of the trailer to introduce a narrative, which would therefore ensure that the trailer made sense to an audience. To do this, I laid audio over existing film footage after cutting out the sound from the film footage itself, meaning that the audio would have no background noise to contend with. I felt that certain clips used within my trailer would benefit from being slowed down or sped up, particularly at the beginning of the trailer. Therefore, I used the change speed function and changed the speed percentage that slowed down various clips, giving the trailer a diverse range of footage. Aside from tools I used to create the trailer, I also used various effects to enhance the quality of the trailer. I used this first on the captions, whereby I put a bad TV effect on the text to enhance the narrative and create something more visually interesting. I was not initially aware that effects could be put on text. However, after researching further into Final Cut Pro tutorial videos on YouTube as part of my secondary research, I learned how to use effects productively and effectively within my trailer. As well as this, I used various video filters within the trailer to change the lighting and overall look on some of the footage. On clips where the lighting didn't work as well as I would have liked, I used the image control function and toggled the brightness and contrast to make sure that an audience could see exactly what is happening in the shot clearly. However, I soon found that only minor adjustments had to be made while doing this to ensure that the footage didn't look unrealistic, as I was not able to see the image while editing it. Similar to this, I used various transitions, particularly during the equilibrium stage of the trailer, to enhance the fluidity and intrigue my target audience. I used the fade transition the most as it connotes the idea of ease and normality, which I felt was important to initially interest an audience. Throughout the rest of the trailer, I used cut transitions as it connotes the idea of disequilibrium and disruption, and therefore heightens the overall tension. However, to ensure that my trailer didn't seem repetitive and boring, I varied the duration of the clips, having some on the screen for a few seconds and some on show for longer. To do this, I used the razor tool and the move tool to line up which clip would be showed after the previous. In terms of the evaluation, I used various other modes of technology, the first being Prezi. When talking about the consistency across both the ancillary text and the main media product, I used Prezi, an online presentation website, to present this section of the evaluation. Using this, I was able to include both images and videos alongside the writing within the presentation, creating something visually interesting and easy to navigate through. Similar to this, I used various other websites throughout the course, such as WordPress and YouTube. I used WordPress, a cloud-based website, to present both my research and ancillary text, which I found useful as I could easily access my work anywhere from this blog. I also used YouTube to present my finished trailer, which other people were then able to like or comment their opinions of it directly. As well as this, I used YouTube as part of my secondary research, finding tutorials to help me produce a high standard of work on both the ancillary text and the trailer. When creating a focus group as part of my evaluation, I wanted to create something visually interesting and something that would benefit the audience in terms of understanding exactly what the focus group was talking about. For this reason, I placed the image of what the focus group were talking about over the video itself. I then used PNG files over the top of this to focus on exactly what is being mentioned by the focus group, making the video easy to understand.